Hey, hey, hey. How you doing? It's the new setup. Trying to get used to the new setup. I set up some lights. I've put almost no thought into what to talk about tonight. Welcome to the Sunday Night Chat. If it's your first time here, my name's Mike, and this is my channel, which is all over the place. I am not a one-trick pony. If I was just doing one thing all the time, I would not be a happy person. And look, if I'm not happy, nobody's friggin' happy. So maybe I should have cleaned this up before I did this. Anyhow, it's Sunday. What is it? It is I'm starting late today. It's the 28th of January. On my new UFO watch here, new to me from 1997. It is basically a 60-year-old design, reissued almost 30 years ago from a watch that was already 30 years old when they did that. And my watch videos are purposefully not terrific because I'm not even going to pretend to try to I don't know, compete is a strong word, but there's a lot of watch channels out there, and these guys are way, 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 way better at it than I am. That's why I call it the Palooka Watch Channel, because I got a little Palooka in me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how this whole channel is. That's why I'm always warning you guys about that. Anyhow, I got to tell you, the last couple weeks, man. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, a lot. Well, we're going to touch on some of this, I suppose, today. And of course, LA with the fires and everything. And I'm finding out now that quite a few people I know lost everything, and it sucks. I have not reached out to any of them. It's not because I don't care, it's the exact opposite. It's because I care too much. And when I start thinking about it, I get a little emotional over it for them. And at the same time, I assume that they're probably. I got my legs up. I got a pretty good setup here, man. Legs are up. I'm totally relaxed and comfortable, which they're not now because they don't have a house anymore. So now I'm supposed to feel guilty about that, and I do. Um, I just assume that they've got to be overwhelmed with outpouring of support and everything else from everybody else that we all know, but also just trying to navigate everything that they have to right now to deal with life. And I don't want to be a burden to them, but I'll probably reach out later today or tomorrow. I think I'm taking tomorrow off, um, and maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Just reach out to everybody with some text or something because I do care. Um, I did post a link to a GoFundMe for my buddy Mike. This is his surf shop right here. And I donated a couple bucks. I don't have that kind of money to be giving away to people. I wish I did. If I did, I wouldn't have any money because I'd be giving it all away. Uh, and then apparently GoFundMe got back to me and they said, "Hey man, the link that you posted is doing well. People are opening up and sending money." And actually, one of you guys is super cool. I'm kind of glad so far that I've been accepting the friends requests. I did that video telling you guys I would do that on the Facebook because so far it's been amazing. And there's this one guy there, really, really cool guy. I don't remember anybody's name. I'm reading all the messages, but I'm not paying attention and putting it all together because there's too much going on in my mind at any given time. This guy's a real cool older guy. You might be a Marine too. He's an artist. He's friggin' phenomenal. And he reached out to me and said that he doesn't do GoFundMe or PayPal or anything, but he'd be willing to send me a check to forward to him. So we might do that, man. Thank you for that. I'll let you know. But it's just great. And so I saw another GoFundMe for my buddy Mike. Another Mike. That's three of us. We're the best. Let's face it. Mike's a really cool guy, and we used to ride motorcycles together. And he married a Japanese girl. He used to live in Japan, and he's got two beautiful little half Japanese daughters. And yeah, they lost it all, man. So I saw a GoFundMe for him the other day, and I'll repost that. Um, I need to talk to him about what his scenario is. I know his parents had a big house in the valley too, and he had some other properties over here in Silver Lake. So he might not really be as bad as some people, but it's still pretty bad, you know, losing your house and everything. But I'm guessing he probably has a place to be. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I've had my own stuff going on. You know, that's a thing. I had some weird troll person last week in my comments, which is very strange. I think I mentioned it already. This just popped in my brain. It's not like I'm losing sleep over this, but it was like, I'm reporting this page. You know, what, you're not doing anything for the fire victims. Like, what? What are you talking about? That's crazy. It's a weird thing with the fires because the people are directly affected, and in that area, those areas, that's a big friggin' deal. So the people are right adjacent to it, the people who lived through it, the people whose houses survived, the people who didn't, and their families, those communities are immersed in it. But LA is a big friggin' place, man, and where I'm at, it's like nothing happened. That's the crazy thing. So like everybody here, Hollywood area basically, is out there living their lives, going to work every day. There's still traffic on the roads. You know, it's a weird thing. It kind of goes to, I was watching a video this morning. I posted it on my Facebook page. It was a guy, whoopsie, I'll take the tripod, with my foot, my bare foot. It was how do you know you're in a psyops, and it's pretty good. And I wrote a sentence when I posted it, like, this is the truth. You guys been here long enough. I've been saying this stuff for a long time in layman's terms, but this guy actually literally wrote the book on it. Worked for the government for over 20 years in the military and everything else, intelligence guy, and really broke it down. It's you have to be aware of this, that you're being manipulated. Like, these are real events that happen most of the time. But there's everything that springs up after the event doesn't necessarily hold weight. You know, these are things that people put out there for a whole lot of different reasons. And when the media en masse focuses on a particular issue, and no matter what channel you go to, they're repeating the same phraseology, that's a warning sign to you, you know. And so if you're on social media and you're watching a lot of YouTube and you're on Facebook and if you're on X or any of these other things, then you are getting a lot of that. And so your focus becomes that, and then you start thinking everybody else's focus should be on that too, because that's what your focus is on. But your focus is only on that because of what you're watching. You know, it's crazy. I'm kind of amazed that so many people have so much time to be watching this shit all day long. It's crazy, man. Having said that, totally fell into it the other day. Because the Trump thing, man, it's wild what's been going on in just the last week. You know, 3 days in, you know, he did more, in my opinion, than the last guy did in 4 years. It's amazing. Now, some of you might not agree with a lot of what he's doing. A lot of you are believing, you know, what the other side is telling you is going to happen, and you're making that a reality in your mind. That's their job. It's what they did to you for the last 9 years. You're still listening to the same people who've been lying to you all this time. There's no help for you. You're broken. You're addicted to it. You're addicted to it. And it's ironic because you're like, the hate. No hate. You hate. You're the one. You've been programmed to hate. It's just you don't see the forest through the trees there, you know, for the trees. It's you got issues, man. Um, Having said that, that doesn't mean I think that every single thing he's doing is automatically going to be the best. Maybe there's going to be repercussions that might not be positive here and there, but overall it's good. And all the people that voted for him care about is that he said he was going to do it, and he's doing it instantly. Boom, 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 boom. That's important because it kind of proves to you he's not a politician, right? Because my whole life, politicians have said they're going to do all these things, and they almost never do them. They might get one or two things done in 4 years because they work within the system that's set up to fail. And he's crushing it, man. So I wanted to talk about this. It really jumped out at me over the last few days. I've had the time. I got to talk about a couple different things at the same time here. The last 2 weeks for me have been very difficult physically. I've been working on this house, patching this mortar in this house, and then doing the stucco patch. And if you know anything, I'm mixing small batches in a little bucket by hand, and because it sets up fast. So you got to do it like that. Right? First, you go and you bust all this stuff out, and then you got to vacuum it out, and you got to hose it down with a little water because this material needs it to be kind of moist to stick. There's a whole freaking process involved. But you're forcing this stuff in with this trowel and a sponge, and it's just so. First, you're mixing it. You've got to get the stuff right. 50-pound bags or more of this stuff, and I'm buying new bags every day, and I'm hauling this stuff around and carrying it around, and then I'm cutting the bag and I'm dumping it in, and I'm mixing it up, and I'm carrying the buckets, and and I'm only working like 3 to 6 hours a day, depending. And it started off like 4 to 6 hours a day for the first week. And then this week it started petering off a little bit because it's, for hours. You go to the gym, you work hard, you lift heavy weight or something, let's say, which I'm not doing. I talked about lifting some weights. I've been so physically spent the last 2 weeks. I come home and I just get horizontal and try to relax the best I can. And I'm not eating well either. Well, I'm eating pretty well, but it's another story. We don't have to get into it. The point is, I've been going in a little later and getting off earlier. So in the mornings, I can watch a little YouTube and whatnot. And I've mentioned this Benny Johnson channel before. He's a likable guy. It's a lot of red meat for conservatives and Republicans. He's clearly a partisan. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know that going in, But that's no different than CNN or MSNBC or PBS or any of these other people shilling for the socialists, right? That's what they do, But they lie to you about it. They try to make it sound like, it's some other thing. But no, that's what they're doing. At any rate, he was on the other day, and it was the day that Trump went to North Carolina to see the victims there of all the flooding. And then same day, he came out to California, right here, Pacific Palisades. And what he did, it blew my friggin' mind, he's got all these producers, and they are all watching all the news feeds that are live at the time, covering the president, excuse me. And so he can tell them what to do, and on the screen, they're playing live the best angles, best footage of the president live. Whatever he was doing, I think I watched for over 4 hours that day. And I think I watched most of it in the morning, and I think when I came back later, I watched a little more. My skin is dry as hell this time of year, and all the cement and everything on your hands. I've been using this, I don't use it for anything else other than the skin on my arms and legs and stuff, just so you know. I use coconut oil for that other thing there. But at any rate, it was like lizard skin there. Like I'm part lizard person. Hey, you don't know, man. You don't know. Could be. You don't know what's in you. Anyhow, as I was saying here, I was watching this, and I'm seeing him in North Carolina. He's got Melania with him. I don't know why people want to malign her, talk crap about her. I mean, she's, as far as I can see, she's nothing but a sweet and pretty smart lady who speaks multiple languages. I mean, it's crazy. And she's like 60 years old, man. Look at her. Anyhow, I'm watching it, and they're talking to all the people, and they're out there, and they're just, the thing about Trump, you might not be used to this after the last 4 years. He's actually a guy that doesn't need notes, doesn't need to prepare. He's lived this life. He's done all these things. You could hit him with a question on any topic, and he could be like, oh, yeah, that's right, bam, 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 bam. Pretty good. He has a funny way of speaking. He repeats a lot of the things that he said over and again, but he has to do that because he's trying to get what he sees as a positive message out to as many people as possible, and every couple minutes there's another camera on him from another news organization, so he wants to make sure that the same consistent message is going out to all these places. So if you're watching it a lot, he sounds overly repetitive, but he's trying to cover all his bases there. That's just common sense. So even though it's kind of annoying even to me, I understand it from a logistical point of view. But they're just talking to the average person. Biden couldn't do that. Kamala couldn't do that. So it's interesting. It's really cool. He just can talk to anybody, make them feel good, cheer them up, make them laugh, help them cut through red tape, everything else. So North Carolina is one thing. Then boom, he's out here like that. And he's in the Palisades and he's talking to all these people on the street. Melania's talking in a whole other language to people there that live there. And they're talking to all the firemen. And at one point, you see they got the firemen lined up and they're all prepared for Trump to come by. And he shakes every one of their hands and talks to them individually. And then they're cutting to the round table, which is like they put tables in the shape of a U. And they've got like the mayor of LA there. And I can't think of this other guy's name, Grinnell. Mark Grinnell or something. I forget his first name. But he's really good. I think he's gay too. Not that it matters. But that's the thing. It's a funny thing about what they say about Trump all the time. But if you look at the people who he works with everybody. Did you see the conversation with him and Newsom on the tarmac there? Newsom kind of kissing his ass there because he needs the money from the federal government. I mean, it's awesome. He will talk to anybody. That's what you need in a leader. At any rate, all these bigwigs are waiting for him. What's he doing? He's taking his time with the firefighters, talking. Then he says, hey, let's do individual shots. So he's taking individual pictures with every single person there on the street while all these other bigwigs are waiting to talk to him. That's a power move right there, man. And then he gets in there and he's talking to them, and it was really a good thing. There was that one guy, I can't think of his name because I didn't know who he was beforehand. But I guess he's a congressman or something, a Democrat here in California, who tried to throw some shade and play politics with Trump in that thing. And Trump just shot him down. It was a glorious thing. And, but, I watched it. I watched it live as it was happening. And to me, it was like, okay, good. Okay, he said all the things. I posted it when it was going live. And I was like, when they were at the round table, I was like, oh, I should share this right now, just in case somebody wants to watch it happen live. Because I'm not watching any other channels on the TV or anything. I'm just on the YouTube, So I'm watching it, and I'm able to formulate my own opinion of it based on what I'm seeing and hearing. But over the course of the last few days since this, when I've seen little snippets of news or on Fox or any other channel, because I see everything on YouTube. I catch everything. MSNBC, CNN, Fox. I follow it all there because it's great. To me, that's the way to do it, because the same event, how it's shown by all these different channels, lets you know what their true agenda is. So, if they got a certain picture, they had this one picture of Newsom pointing at Trump and making it sound like he was the power guy in that conversation, which was not what was actually was. And combined with the title of that video, they made it sound like Newsom had somehow been one up on Trump. No, that's not what happened at all. But that's the way they want you to see it. And this is the manipulation of truth that media does. That's why you can't trust the media anymore. That's why I'm always telling you guys that. This is why I posted this thing today on my page about how you know you're in a psyop or witnessing one or whatever the hell the title of that thing was. Same thing with the Bass chick, the mayor here. What a fool. But she's smiling and trying to do all the things, but it's partially her fault. It's partially the governor's fault. It's partially the fire chief's fault that they weren't prepared for this, because I don't care what you're seeing. I posted this already. I've shared it multiple times. I did a whole video on it. In 1961, the exact same set of circumstances happened. The exact same fire took place. Now, of course, we lost a lot more this time because there's a lot more people there now. And homes are worth a lot more money, and businesses worth everything else. Altadena, all of it. I'm just saying the exact same thing happened in 1961. And in 1962, there is a great documentary called Design for Destruction. I believe that's the name of it. And you should look that up. and watch that. I'll put a link to the video I did either at the end of this one or in the description, hopefully. If I don't, please remind me to do so. And in 1962, they explained why there was no water in the fire hydrants, right? So they explained everything. They explained the winds. They explained why trees don't burn when the wind speed is that strong, and how embers could go in the atmosphere and travel miles in some cases and fall down and start a whole new fire. All of it. All of it was explained in 1962, where you would think every leader who gets apparently voted into office, which is another thing we'll get into here, I suppose. Well, this was not what the channel, what the today was going to be about, but I guess we're talking about it. I guess I'm talking about it. You would think that's required viewing. You have to watch this documentary from 1962 because we need to make sure we can fight a fire when it cracks off again, because it's going to. That's what the military does. That's what military all the time. I was a security force Marine. All we did was train every day. It was training for the worst case scenario. Period. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Otherwise, what's your fucking job, man? So aggravating. And then I watched this great documentary where there's 4 families that have been running California for 80 years. Gavin Newsom's born right into it, which goes to the thing I've been saying for a long time when I talk to friends. You know, some of you who aren't here and some of you who lived here before and you're not here now, you're all like, we deserve everything we get here in California because who we're voting for. I'm not voting for these assholes, right? I don't think, here's the thing. I think California is like Chicago was, and still is to a large degree. I don't think, I'm going to get some flack for this, I don't think you could trust the elections in California. I don't think you've been able to trust the elections in California for decades. Because there's no way. I mean, there's even people who lean pretty far to the left, you know, a lot of them still have common sense. Less and less of them every year. But a lot of them still do. And they got to see that it's not good to be putting criminals back out on the street right after they do something, which gets you to the deportations, which is, ooh, man, phenomenal. Phenomenal. And the thing is like the left keeps trying to make you believe they're going to just round everybody up and force them all out willy-nilly. No, they've got a pretty good plan. They're going after guys. They know exactly where they are and who they are, that have committed, in some cases, horrendous crimes. Rape of children, rape of old ladies, and other crimes. And when they go after them, that's it. They're arrested. They go through this process, and then they're putting them on a plane home. By the way, if they're with other people who are in the country illegally, being in the country illegally is a crime. And I could speak to this, man. My dad came here, didn't speak English, nothing. My own father is an immigrant, you know, and he paid his dues, man. He did it the right way, became a naturalized citizen. He learned to speak English. I don't even speak Greek. So, you know, I like what I'm seeing, and we'll see how everything else shakes out. It's kind of crazy. It's really funny in a way because, you know, it's like a shock and awe thing that's going on, and it's probably it was orchestrated this way, but they're hitting so many things at the same time that the media, the left, they can't keep up with any one thing. That's genius. That is a genius move. And then declassifying the JFK, RFK, and Martin Luther King Jr. Files. Let's see how much of that is not redacted and what comes out of that. I mean, I think we all know what the answers are already. You know, I mean, like, it's nothing new here, man. But it's good that he's doing it. Maybe we'll get the UFO stuff declassified. That'd be good too. Anyhow, I'm done with that. What's next? The watch thing is funny. I did the video. Guy made a comment about like dive watches are interesting, and I started thinking about that. And I'll probably do a video on this. When I do this, it's for you. It's for my viewers who watch the channel, who know I'm interested in it, and then you guys get to hear my opinion on it. Again, I'm not trying to compete with any other watch channel out there. These guys go deep diving with their dive watches in on these subjects. And but for those of you that don't know, you couldn't even buy a dive watch until like 1953. But the first real dive watch was like 1938 or something, I believe. It was Panerai, right? It was an Italian guy. And I think he made the cases and all that, but all the innards and all that were made by Rolex. The Italian Navy. It's so funny to me. For World War II. You know why it's funny to me? I'll tell you why it's funny to me. It's kind of ironic. The Italians do not have a good reputation for being war fighters, generally speaking, especially during World War II there. Now I know this because I'm Greek, and so I heard all the stories from my family of the partisans, fighting the Italians and the Germans. My family participated in that. My father was a child soldier from 1945 to 1950 during the Greek Civil War. So, I'm getting firsthand accounts of this shit. And the irony is that the Italians did at one time have a really badass military, the Roman legions. You've probably heard of that before. Of course, every good idea they ever had and every success that they can lay credit to is all because they stole everything from the Greeks. And then they did a worse job of it in most cases. Like they took the Olympics, which the game, the Olympics and like Roman wrestling and all that, and they turned that into the games, which decimated all of Europe and Africa and all the known world at that time where the Romans were. I mean, there used to be lions and tigers running around Europe. It was the Romans and the Roman games are responsible for killing off all those animals. They would kill off thousands and thousands of animals in a day, in one day. It was insane what they were doing. Insane. Anyhow, jump to World War II. And they did make really the first dive watch. It's a funny story in my family. It's a crazy story. I should talk to my uncle about this. But they used to tell me this when I was a kid. Their grandfather, my great-grandfather, who came to this country, the United States of America, the glorious United States of America, and like over 100 years ago. And he worked on tiling the Holland Tunnel and worked in New York City on the old building. And they were new buildings at the time, building New York City. And then he took his money back to Greece and bought a mountain and built a church and created a village, the village of Enthusa, and built the first house there in 1913, which is the house that my father was born in, which I guess I own now. I have the keys to it. And I'm probably never going back there. It would be nice to do that, but I just don't know that I'll see that. I don't know that I'll make that happen. I'm getting too old, and I don't have that kind of money right now, and blah, 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 blah. But anyhow, this village, this part of Greece, this is northwestern Greece. The biggest city up there is Kozani. And it's still west, I believe north and west of Kozani. It could be southwest of Kozani, but it's definitely west of Kozani. I think it's northwest. And Albania is right over there. And then Italy and all that. So it's up in the mountains. And they don't like Albanians, at least back when I was going there. They shoot them and shoot at them. My father shot at Albanians. There was a blown out window in the house because he forgot to open the window, and they were running across the property. He was shooting at him with a shotgun. Because they kill people. They cross the border. They break into people's homes, ransack it, kill people. This is truth. This is happening. Well, it was happening in the 90s, up until the 90s. It might still be happening today. It's not the sort of thing that you don't get that news out of Greece, right? Their media is very controlled over there. They don't have what we have going on. And they run it like a socialist country there. It's really fucked up. But that's going on there. And but the Italian, so the deal is that the Axis powers in World War II, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Hitler and Mussolini had this thing where they needed to try to control the Mediterranean, and Hitler tasked Mussolini with taking Greece. He never took Greece. Nobody took Greece. There's pictures of the Germans in Athens, and they did that. They occupied it, but they never fully took it. Partisans were always fighting them the whole time. You should check out the movie The Guns of Navarone sometime. That movie still holds up. I think that was that Gregory Peck? I think it's Gregory Peck and Anthony Quinn. Am I thinking of the right movie? Guns of Navarone? At any rate, my great-grandfather, it's a true story, at least that's what they tell me, they're up in the mountains and they're patrolling. Because the funny thing about, this is what happened. So you'll get this. This is why, growing up as a kid, we didn't have like a good, strong opinion of Italians at the time as being, hardcore war fighters, because they failed in World War II. But it makes sense. I think that they knew that Mussolini was a fascist, and they probably really didn't want to be doing what they were told to do anyhow. That's probably what was going on, because they were surrendering across everything. The failure of Italy, and which forced Hitler's hand to have to send more German troops to Greece, is a big part of us winning the war, because it diverted. I lost my train of thought. There's too much noise outside here. You probably can't hear it, but he had to divert troops and money, and I can't think of the friggin' word, but you know what I'm saying, to deal with Greece. So my father's grandfather, they're up there in the mountains, right? They got these lines up there, and the Italians are coming through. They're killing them. He goes to take a shit, and he goes by these trees. He leans his rifle up right next to him, pulls his pants down, and as he's shitting, he makes the sound of 3 Italians on the other side of the bush drop their rifles and throw their hands up while he's taking a shit, right in the middle of the act. He's got to grab his rifle. They're like, don't worry, it's okay. We're not going to, we'll wait for you to finish. So they let him finish taking his shit and everything. And then he marches them at gunpoint, back to his buddies. So when you grow up with stories like that, from your own family, you kind of get the impression that the Italians weren't really the best war fighters during World War II. If you're Italian and you're upset by this, sorry, it's just the way it was. Yeah. All right. Anyhow, the whole thing with the dive watch thing is that pretty soon they came up with these things like screwing the crown in to make it more watertight, things like that. And the point of this watch here, and Seiko has a whole line of, they call the Seiko 5 watches, which are, if you were trying to compare it to a professional dive watch, it's a low end, but they're just so innovative with design and their movements. And it's funny talking to Mike over here at Majestic, the watch shop, Majestic WJ. I love Mike. He's a great guy. He does have one of my Seikos there that he's holding hostage for some reason. I'm aggravated about it a little bit. It's a giant watch. I might buy another one today. Pretty soon, actually. We got to end this video here pretty soon. It's actually a very expensive watch if you get them in perfect condition with the box and the papers and everything else. And it's a one of the more rare movement that's decorated and everything. And they only came in a few watches. And it is a 200-meter diver, and it's a dual crown. It has an internal rotating bezel like this one has. And but the bezel doesn't work because the little piece of plastic, the gear in there, is stripped. And he took it apart, and he was going to find the part. So I don't think you're going to find the part. He goes, well, I'll look anyhow. And that was like 4 months ago or 5 months ago. And he still hasn't, all the watch needed was a regulation. I don't care. I keep telling him, don't worry about the internal bezel. It doesn't work. It's a novelty anyhow. I don't care. So I made the joke last time. Like, you took the thing apart and then you kept the watch. And all it needs is a regulation. And I know you can do that in less than 5 minutes. I've seen you do it. But he's so busy, Anyhow. I was talking to him about this because he's working on Rolexes, and he's working on Tag Heuers. He's working on Tissot's. He's working on all the super high end, any high end watch you can think of. He's the master, and he's been certified at different times in his career to work on all these, even from their factories. So the thing is, those watches can cost tens of thousands of dollars, and they absolutely need servicing pretty regularly. And that costs $700, $1,500, whatever that costs. Depends on what needs to be done. Could be several $1,000s, depending, right? And that was the thing I was telling him, because he's like, well, these Seikos, like, yeah, but dude, I could pick up a Seiko that's 30 years old, put it on, and it's keeping time. And he looks up at me because he gets it. He knows. So that's the thing. It's like this weird thing. Like, do I want to own a Rolex one day or something? Yeah, it'd be a neat thing, but I can own for what I would like. If I picked a Rolex I would like, and it might cost me basically all the watches I own right now, if I could get top dollar for all of them, I might be able to afford a Rolex, like a nice Rolex that maybe might be worth 20 or 30,000. No, I can't get that much for my one. What am I saying? There's no way. That's my point. I can own 50 or 100 watches, and every one of them could be cool and have this badass collection. It's worth a significant amount of money at some point. Not that that's why I'm doing it. But I can have all these watches. I could change whenever I want and wear them, and I do. I change them out all the time, and I put them on, and I wear them, and be happier. Because you have that Rolex, and you could wear it, and that could be your beater or whatever. Or the worst thing you could do with even an automatic watch is not wear it, because they're all lubricated. And if you take a watch and let it sit in a box for a year or several years and take it out, well, that's all dried up now. Now you got to bring it in for a servicing. So if you have your watch, don't even service your watch if you're not going to wear it. This is my advice to you. If you have a super expensive watch that's in a safe or something, you don't intend on wearing it, don't waste the money on having it serviced. Because if you have it serviced and then you don't wear it again, and it sits in there for several years, you're just going to need to have it serviced again. The next servicing would be easier. All they got to do is take it apart, clean it up. They're not going to replace anything, hopefully, but you understand what I'm saying here. It's like a car. I say this all the time. I always make this analogy. You got to drive the car. You can't just have the car sitting there. And you need to get in your car and get on the highway and do 80 to 100 miles an hour for several hours at a time to blow out the carbon out of that engine. You got to do that. People think that that is the right thing to do. Anyhow. So yes, I'm on these watches here, and I just can't help it, and it's just not going to stop. But from time to time, I do sell one, or I give something away, or I'll barter something and all that. But I have this eclectic thing about Seikos in general, and it's kind of a fun thing to get into. And I get this thing from some women. You got another watch or whatever? I'm like, well, how many pairs of shoes do you have? How many handbags do you have? How much jewelry do you own? That's the end of the conversation. How much makeup do you own? You know what I'm saying? So stop with that, ladies. It's my money. I got nothing, it's just me, man. So at any rate, I think I'm going to keep this one short. I feel very strange. Just working a little bit too hard, and I guess I'm going to keep talking. There's uncertainty in my life right now on several different fronts that I don't have answers to, that is keeping me a little bit from, I get mired down in it. I think too much. Excuse me. So it's hard for me to move ahead sometimes when I have these things in my mind that I don't have answers to. And some of the answers just require me dealing with people. But sometimes those relationships are in a current holding pattern, let's say. And in some cases, I don't want to bother those people too much, or there might be a situation where something's going on personally between us that's a little bit off-putting, and I think it needs more time before I talk to the person or whatever. So there's that. Oh, I do want to bring this up. Sabo, my buddy Sabo, I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. I did share this on my page a couple times now. He finally got his book together, and he got his proof copy that he had to make a couple changes to, but it's pretty cool. If you guys don't know who Sabo is, look up unsavoryagents.com, unsavoryagents.com. And Sabo, Sabo, Sabo is the, what's the word? He's the most censored street artist in history. He's a conservative street artist. And I did a bullshit session with him sitting right here already. It's on the channel. Maybe I'll remember to put that in the description. I'm gonna have to watch this video again. I should take notes. I am the worst, man. I'm so pro. I need to be, that's what I need to start doing with you guys. I gotta write it down on a pad so that when I'm done, I know what to put in a friggin', I should have a pad here. I got a little piece of paper here. Let's just do this real quick. What did I say? Sabo's book. Sabo book. Okay. I already forgot the other thing I was going to put in there. God damn it. All right. So the story is in 2015, I met Sabo. He was a big Ted Cruz fan at the time. And he was a little paranoid. The Secret Service had already visited him because of things he had done with Obama. He did an Obama toilet seat. It's pretty crazy. His imagery, his stuff it's pretty hard hitting, and a lot of it's crude and in your face, and it's on purpose. That's done like that. And I'm not an overtly political person. I'm an issues person. But yes, I tend to lean more. I'm center right. I believe in a strong military and low to no taxes. And being free as possible. So I'm against big government and the government telling you what you can and can't do, all that stuff. But, you know, I got to know him. We were both Marines. We both served in the same time period. I respect his freedom of speech, even though I might not agree with everything he says. And he asked me to help him on one of his hits, and I did. And then we became pals. And then we worked on a couple that were, in the beginning it was a little contentious with us because he had never worked with me before, and he's used to being the boss there on the street. And he's got his guy Mater, who's a great dude, and they were working together. And he had other guys come in and helping him. But I know that when I came along, it changed everything for the positive for him. And I made that happen because, excuse me, I'm going to blow snot out of my nose. I was going to do that, but I'm not going to do that on camera. I told him after the second one, I was like, dude, I'd like to help you, but I'm not the guy to want to take charge, but I knew I kind of had to a certain extent. It was always his idea. It was always, but as far as how we were going to do it, if I was involved, I would say to him, here's how we should do this. And I always approached it like a military operation. Boom, boom, boom. And he learned he could trust me early on, and that's what made the hits that we did together. He and I, and oftentimes Mater was there. One time I had my buddy Elliot. That's when I met Elliot. We hit a Shepherd Ferry art opening, I think it was, in downtown. What a fun one that was. That was funny. That was when Hillary did the deplorables thing, and so Sabo came up with the deplorables logo. It was the skull with the Trump hair, and with this big banner. And we got up there during the daytime, and me and this guy Elliot are up on the roof all day till after the sun went down, and after the party started, and all these celebrities were down there. And so Sabo had it set up with cameras and everything. He had people there already ready to watch, and he gave us the signal. And we dropped this banner right down. It just unfolded down the front of the building, right in front of all these people that were there for the Shepherd Ferry stuff, which is, he was supporting more the left-wing political machine there with his art. And so that was just a funny moment in time, and that was a good thing to do. But my point is, after that one, he started listening to me more, which was cool. It was even, I'm not saying it's all him. I was just the guy who was helping him. I'm nobody, But the one thing I could do for him is I had balls, right? So at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, if we were doing a billboard and he asked me to do it, I was, I didn't put a harness on, no safety lines, nothing, man. It was just, ladders, climbing walls, just death grip, gorilla climbing, bam, 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 getting up there, making this shit happen. If I was up there with another person, telling them every single time I was up there with people, even though they had done it before, they were like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, come on, focus, 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 let's get it done. You'll hear him say this because he was always yelling at me. I was on it. I wasn't going to do anything before he could get going, but I was always ready to drop it before he was ready. So he'd be screaming at me, 3:30 in the morning. Don't do it yet. Slow down. Because he had to get it. He shot drone footage of a lot of this stuff. So I have to be careful. I can't show much. We discussed this the other day. He wants to give me footage that I can share with you guys here on the channel. And it's going to be glorious, man. It's going to be cool. But he doesn't want to do that until he does his documentary. And I believe he'll do it. This is not a Ricky Rocket situation. I was friends with Ricky. People have mentioned name dropping. Look, I mention these names. I'm not mentioning names of people that I've known or met to uplift myself in your eyes. I don't care. This is my life. These are people I interacted with, and these are the stories. Am I just supposed to say some guy? Some guy I was working with? So stop with the cynicism, all right? But I was friends with this guy who played drums in his hair band, all right? When I met him, I was like, man, I used to have to play your music in the nightclub. I used to DJ. JJ Rocker, Seaside's only rock and roll nightclub. And I used to make fun of you guys, and he said to me, well, that hair and makeup made me a millionaire several times over. So I was like, you got me on that one. That's how we bonded. But he had this grandiose idea of doing a documentary on the cafe racer scene, from, the birth of it basically in Britain and all that. And then the resurgence of it at the time in the early 2000s when we were all doing that. And he never did it. He shot stuff, but he never put it together and finished it. I hope he does. Somebody should send him this. Ricky, do it. With Sabo, he's going to do it. And I know he's going to do it because Sabo is a finisher. He's a hard-working dude, man. I have nothing but respect for that guy. We've had some falling outs over the years. Those of you who've known me over these years, no, there was times where we weren't even talking. What are you going to do? That just happens sometimes. It ain't me, by the way. It's not me, it's you. I'm the guy that says that. It's you, not me. Because I'm always me. I'm always the same. If you suddenly have a problem with me, that is your friggin' problem, man. Because I have not changed. I'm always the same guy. Same person, same thing. You can hit me with anything. I'll mull it over. I'll think about it. I don't think I'm right about everything. But as far as my personality, and always the same guy. So if you think I suddenly changed on you, no. Something's going on in your brain, man. You changed. Because I'm still the same dude. All right, let's move on. My friends are laughing right now because they know it. So, and the thing is when I have fallings out with people, it's hard because if I knew them for a long time before the falling out, I want to bring them back into the fold. I want to be friends with them again because I still love them, But if they then, again, have some mental lapse and go crazy, mostly it's due to substances, or they made other bad choices in their life and they can't handle the stress. When they can't handle the stress, like a lot of people do, they take it out on everyone else around them and they start creating arguments with everybody else. And there's only so much of that shit I'm going to take. So if you and I have been friends for a long time and we've had a falling out, and then we got back together, and then we had a falling out again, and now we're friends again, and then we had a falling out. There's only so many times I'm going to allow that. Because at some point, it's not that I don't like you. I still love you as a human being, and I'm always going to focus on the happy memories and all that, and think of you fondly, because I only want to think of the fond stuff. When I talk to mutual friends that we both know, that's the stuff that'll come up. But of course, we'll discuss the issues from time to time, and because a lot of times I have friends contacting me going, hey man, so-and-so wants to talk to you. Hey man, so-and-so feels bad about this. Hey man, so-and-so wants to apologize. I'm oftentimes slightly reluctant to go down the path again if I've already been down that path with that person multiple times by now. because now I'm gun shy. Now I'm scared. It's like, okay, well, it's like kicking a dog too many times. That dog's always shaking, man. That dog doesn't know. Oh, hey, come here, boy. Come here. The dog's like, okay, okay. Because you know that you might be, oh, I love you. You know, and then 10 minutes later, get the fuck out of here, and you're kicking your dog. That's what it's like. I don't like being the dog that gets kicked around. You know what I'm saying? So there's only so much of that crap I can take with people. And again, it's not, if I don't reconnect with somebody, it doesn't mean I don't like them. It just means that you wore this out. And hopefully we could talk again someday. But if it's happened several times now, there's a few people in my life like that. And even family members. You know, I got a family member I haven't talked to in 9 years now. You know, one of the few that's left still, you know, alive. So I can only take so much from people. I'm not going to be continually put in this situation where I got to take all your shit. Okay, back to what I was saying. And to get that off my chest there. Sabo did the book. And so the fact that he did it, he's got 100 issues coming in that are all for sale at $100. And this is an introductory price. Right now, there might only be 20 left that are available. The last check, there was 24 left. And that was 2 days ago. So I'm assuming there might only be 20 or less available for sale. And if you're a fan of me, if you're a fan of the channel, you guys will get a kick out of the fact that I'm in the book. I'm excited about this. This is now, you know, Sabo warned me about this. He had been warning me for years. Kept telling me, I'll do the book. I want to put you in the book. Do you want to be anonymous? Do you want me to put a picture of you with a mask on? No. You put my smiling face in there. And he did. And he asked me to write a blurb for it. And I did. And I think it was pretty good. I don't remember what it was. But it was... I think I just said that, you know, I might not agree with him on everything, but I support his freedom of speech, his First Amendment right to freedom of speech, and the gumption he has, blah, blah, blah. And I think I'm pretty certain I put in there that I saw us as modern day versions of the Sons of Liberty. And that's the truth. I really felt that when we were doing it. Like, those were young guys. Those guys were in their late teens and early 20s and dressing up as Indians to get on those ships out in the Boston Harbor to do the Boston Tea Party. You know, they were putting up flyers and doing things like that all over Boston and being a thorn in the side of the British and provoking a war with Britain. And that's what Sabo's been doing, you know, not with Britain, but with our government. So I support that. And, you know, I was just a small part of it. I didn't, like I said, and we talked about this. He's adamant about it. He's like, Mike, if you talk about it, just don't make it sound like you did it all. And I never do. It was not, I wouldn't have had anything to do with it if he wasn't doing it. It was all his ideas. He did all the art. He printed it all. All I did was help. And I was a good help to him. And for 5 years straight, from 2015 to 2000. When COVID hit, things went a little sideways and Sabo left town, moved to Colorado and all that. So, yeah. I'll put a link in the description if you want to buy the book. This is just the first run of 100. Again, they're $100. They're coffee table books. And what it is it's pictures of his hits. And I think he wrote some copy on the hits and what they meant to him. He says he's going to send me a copy of the book. And when he does that, I will do a video on the book and I'll show off some of it. I'll show me and you know what I'll do? I'll go through and I'll just pick out the hits that I personally assisted with. And I'll show you guys those, and I'll talk about each one of those individually. And that'll probably be in the next few weeks. He'll be getting those books, and then I'll get one. And then, like I said, I'll do that video for you guys. You guys will get a kick out of it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was all over the place, as usual. I never know what it is because I don't write it out first. It's just off the... You guys know. I have no idea what I'm going to say until I start talking. So I hope it was okay. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you in the next one.